you okay? You okay? Are you okay? It's okay. Did you finish?
No,
Okay.
that was the last question. But when I joined again, all of it was gone. So I think we should go back to school. It's just wrong to not.
There's really very significant public health consequences of the school closure.
The decision to close schools should be a last resort.
This is going to be a multi-year process to get kids back up where they need to be. We're not going to be able to solve this in just a few weeks.
Hello, I am speaking on behalf of my 8-year-old son. When I asked him why does he want to go back to school, he simply said, "I can't learn this way. I hate it."
Dude, you didn't even start yet.
Many kids have trouble paying attention during Zoom class. One mom submitted this picture of her kid during class. She says he's falling further and further behind. He's recently been put in a class for kids who need extra help, but it's still on Zoom.
It's okay. We'll explain it to Miss Jackson, and we'll tell her that we'll get it done at the... I will help. I will help you.
Hi, I'm in 6th grade, and these are the reasons why I want to go back to school. My first reason is I'm not motivated to get up in the morning and get on a call for the whole school day.
Children need to be back in school not only for the educational reasons. They need to be back in school for the social reasons and the emotional reasons.
My kids are unhappy, disengaged, and they miss their school.
My other reason is I want to see and meet all friends, and I want to be with them the whole day.
Virtual models that we have in place, the virtual models that other people have in place, it's not the same as face-to-face instruction.
One family said that virtual learning is crushing their third grader's self-confidence. They said that she just can't learn this way. She cries every day and says that she's stupid.
Also, when we need help, our teachers can't really help us alone, and we can't ask them a question. We have to, our teachers have to ask online, and sometimes they don't answer our emails, or they don't answer when we raise our hand in class. So if we were in school, then they would come over to us.
This is Cole. He is failing all of his classes, despite his mom sitting with him all day. His siblings aren't faring much better. Only 1 out of 3 is maintaining the good grades that they got in a brick and mortar environment. One family shared that their son is struggling with multiple classes. The football practice was the only highlight of their day, and they were sidelined because of academic ineligibility.
When you shift to a completely remote learning situation for kids that come from low-income backgrounds, for kids that may have one or in some cases no parent at home, parents with lower levels of education, you can have really disparate impact, particularly on low-income kids, particularly on kids who historically have not been served well by our schools.
Families who are just scraping to get by are going to do their best with online learning, but there's so much ground that can't be covered.
Low-income kids, as we had suspected, are likely falling farther behind.
Kids should have education.
I had to make a very difficult decision to send my youngest son to private school because he so much disliked online learning.
Families who are able to afford it are hiring tutors and specialists and renting spaces.
High-income kids are actually doing even better than expected. So we really have this widening gap.
7.1 million kids get their mental health service in schools. They get nutritional support, as we mentioned, from schools. We're seeing an increase in drug use disorder as well as suicide in the adolescents individuals.
Dr. Kia Carter is the medical director of psychiatry at Cook Children's Medical Center. She says they are seeing a high number of adolescent suicide attempts right now, especially during COVID-19 restrictions.
One mother is begging for a 5-day return. She says her 3 high school daughters are suffering. One has new anxiety and is in therapy, and another one is shutting down emotionally and barely speaks to anyone.
AP worries that without going to school, kids lose access to behavioral and mental health services, food programs, and are socially isolated.
My son has developed some anxiety on the computer, or this complete lack of instruction, socialization. He squeezes his hands. He rocks sometimes. He's not understanding what is being taught to him. And if he were in school, the teacher would be able to sit with him one-on-one in a small group, show him manipulative, use hands-on activities. None of that is happening right now. I'm sick to my stomach.
Now I have to go to my class.
I know. It's okay. Just join the class.
Remote learning is really hard for me because I have a concussion.
So, because you have the concussion, what is it you can't be on right now?
A small screen, an iPad, phone, a computer.
But your doctor said you could return to a classroom, right, with restrictions.
Yes.
So if you were allowed, you could be in school 5 days if you needed to be, right?
Yeah.
How many days a week are you able to go to school right now?
2.
So what happens the other 3 days?
I miss school.
Is that fair?
No.
In a recent email exchange with the Pennsylvania Department of Health, they said that it's essential to balance the educational needs of our students with community health. But at what cost to students?
We should be able to go back to school. I mean, it's a right, a law.
You're talking about getting back to a degree of normality, which it's going to be well into 2021, maybe even towards the end of 2021.
Even while we're dealing with this pandemic, this very real public health crisis, We cannot afford to lose an academic year. And we're not just talking about an academic year. Many of our kids have been out of school for all intents and purposes since March. Kids who lose an academic year tend to be disadvantaged for the better part of their academic careers. Kids that lose 2 academic years, the chances that they'll ever catch up are slim to none.
It's in the public health best interest of K through 12 students to get back in face-to-face learning.
We also have to take into account all the other risks of not having them in school.
There is no zero risk.
Our kids are being left behind while we watch our friends' kids go off to school full-time, 5 days a week in person in private schools and even some nearby public schools.
We need to go back 5 days per week.
Private schools and many public schools have shown that it is possible to open safely.
We have been able to show that you can open schools safely.
The AAP suggests kids could be as close as 3 feet apart, particularly if wearing masks.
Chester County guidance calls for 6-foot distancing, but schools just weren't built to have kids 6 feet apart. The state of Pennsylvania and other local county health departments call for 6 feet when feasible, which does allow kids to go back 5 days. The Academy of Pediatrics calls for 3 feet minimum and recommends balancing distancing with the downsides of online learning. Families are caught as the school districts say that they can't accommodate the health department guidance, and the health department says it's only guidance and ultimately a school board decision.
I believe in everybody's hearts that they will try to make school come back.